sneezing here in Mexico. We're gonna do a quick video on the Ramcharger again today. Take a look at this pollen. This is ridiculous. I mean, this thing has sat for maybe a week. Look at this. I haven't seen pollen like this anywhere I've ever lived. The thing is green. So, today, I'm gonna give it a wash. Just a basic wash. I think in one of the last videos we talked about how we're not gonna even wash it much before we take it to the border. So, still in Mexico with it. Heading out in the end of April, the 25th. I'm taking it to Texas, picking up my brother, and then we're gonna head all the way up to Michigan. Probably a day or two on the road. We're gonna do some long shifts driving. So that's gonna be when we get it out of here. So I'm gonna go over a few things, what we're gonna do with it. Obviously today, just a quick basic wash. Quick thing, just getting ready to wash this thing. And I'm just gonna show you some of the Mexican detail products we got down here. So if you didn't know, my main business back in the United States is I own a detailing business, and I use a lot of higher end products and, you know, just stuff that I know that works. But when I got down here, it was really hard to find anything that I could trust or was any good. So I'll show you this. This is the car wash soap I'm using. I had never heard of it. My Spanish is horrible. So it's, I don't know, it does the job on a Ramcharger. I wouldn't want to use it on any of my higher end cars, but it does just fine on this thing. Also, this is the tire shine. This stuff sucks. I mean, it takes like 3 coats to make it look like you put anything on. If you're looking for a shiny tire, it's garbage. I can't find anything decent here. I go back and forth to Texas quite a bit, and I bring detail supplies back, but these are some of what I got to use when I'm down in Mexico. When you're washing one of these, you want to make sure you use a dirty old rag. I'm just kidding. This thing sits outside all the time. My detailing standards have definitely changed since moving to Mexico. No, they'll pick back up. I got a detail shop. I got proper equipment back in Michigan. And I do my best here with what I have, but it's hard to get half decent products. Most of the people here just have help that does it for them. I think people here just think I am the help. Ah, there she goes. She's nice and sudsy. Let's get it rinsed off and blow dry it. Wipe her down. Then we'll go over the rest of the stuff we want to talk about on this thing. Now you'll see the old hair dryer doesn't get it all off, but it does a decent job. Gets the bulk of it off. And this isn't supposed to be a detail tips video at all, but because I do own a detail shop, I'll let you in on a secret. When you're drying something, after you do the hair dryer, the leaf blower, come over it with just any type of quick wax or detail spray and just mist every panel. And once you do that, you can get by probably using one. You hear that? I'm misting that on there. I know the angle sucks. Give me a second or we'll adjust it. Here's what I did. So, quick mist of any detail spray. This one's just a quick wax Meguiar's that I picked up around here. Like I've said before, you can't find anything decent. Fold your Costco or Sam's Club microfiber into fourths. Just start wiping it down. What that does is not only helps give it a little bit of a shine, but really it makes it so you can use one towel and dry an entire car without it being soaking wet. That's why I do it. And something like this, when you're all done drying it off, you can be just done. You don't gotta go over it with detail spray or anything like that. So just a quick detail tip. All right, she's washed, she's dried. Good enough for me. Perfect, not at all. Shine's pretty good though. It's got a lot of detail spray on it from washing it, but got enough leaves here you could shovel them. There's the other wheels. Used to be on it, collecting pollen. Throw those in the back when we take it back to the U.S. I keep saying back to the U.S. It's never been there. It's going there for the first time. Really ought to do the Jeep. Haven't cleaned the Jeep in forever. Take a look at the pollen on this thing. It's better now because I've driven it. Some of the winds knocked it off, but it's horrible. It's awful. This is the first brand new car I ever bought. I never expected to let it get this bad. Look at the bumper. Look at the pollen. Anyway, that's not what that's about. Anyway, back to this thing. So, what will we address before we leave? Well, honestly, not much. Got it pretty much where I want it. We'll check fluids and air pressures and lights so we don't get stopped for a blinker being out. Other than that, that's about all I'm gonna check while it's here. And then as we go, if something comes up, we'll take care of it then. I'd like to get this seat fixed, but I don't want to replace this whole panel. I just want to do this spot here. Just really want to have them stitch it together, because anytime you see someone that does a whole panel, it looks out of place. It looks like crap to me. I'd rather just that little stitching be put back together. It looks like someone had some tape on it before. Other than that, this thing's clean inside. If you have a second gen, or if you know anything about second gen Dodges, these dashboards, they just crumble. Not this one yet. Probably will if it sits out in the sun any longer, but they had a dash pad on it when I bought it, and I helped protect it. Threw this cheap Amazon touchscreen radio in it, primarily just for Apple CarPlay, so I can use it for maps when I'm driving around, especially here in Mexico, but also on my trip back. But anyway, what are we going to take care of when we get it to Michigan? Well, a few things. Let's start with priority. Sits just too low in the back. Had it lowered here in Mexico, and you know, the labor's cheap here for a reason. It's not great. I don't know if I'll be able to show you this. Let me try. Give me just a second here. If you can get a good view of this or not. The axle sits on the bump stop, if you can see that. I can point that out. That is the bump stop, sitting on the axle. You might be able to put a slice of paper between it, but other than that, it's sitting on the bump stop. And the way that they lowered it is they just removed the leaf springs and the factory little block that was in there, and they got it where they wanted it. I brought them some drop shackles, but they said they couldn't use them. Not sure why. Okay, that part got cut weird. Whatever. We're gonna do new leaf springs in the back and drop shackles. That'll hopefully bring us up an inch. We'll maybe pull one leaf if we have to. And next priority. Well, I'm not sure this one will get done second, but needs an intake manifold gasket. And the reason it might be put on hold, oh, I'll get pollen in there too. It's raining. Anyway, the intake manifold gasket you can't see. This actually is a pretty clean engine bay, but they're really common on these to leak. And the only thing that really bothers me is, I guess, you smell a little burning oil when you're driving, but it's not very bad. So probably hold off on doing that until I can afford to do a cam at the same time, and maybe an upgraded intake manifold. Obviously, anything that's included with the cam will get taken care of. Rockers, valve springs, whatnot. So, intake manifold gasket, camshaft, long tube headers if we can still find them. They're getting hard to find for these. And then a decent exhaust system and some Flowmasters. I'm old school with the stuff. I do Flowmasters anything, anywhere I can. I don't know why. When I grew up as a kid, that's what everyone was running, and that's what stuck in my head. I got a Kenny Bell blower on my Mustang, which is not the best blower I could have went with, and also not the cheapest, but it's something I just always wanted and makes plenty of power. So we'll do some exhaust, and we don't really care for this tip that's on this thing, so you can see that. I don't know. It's ugly. We'll get rid of that. Put something else on it. So those are the main things, and then the other one I guess we got going on right now is the output shaft seal on the transmission. We'll get that taken care of, I don't know, maybe on the trip, if it gets too bad. Or it'll hang in there till Michigan, and then this thing's actually going to go sit in Michigan for a few months before I use it again, because I got to fly back to Mexico after I drop it off, and I'm back in Mexico through end of July, so this will go sit in my shop in Michigan for a few months. I'll get back to it maybe late summer, maybe throughout the winter. We'll see. I forgot one other thing needs. I believe it's a fuel pressure regulator. Sometimes it's hard starts. Actually, every time it's sat for more than 2 hours in hard starts. It takes 2 starts every time. I think it's a fuel pressure regulator. I'm not a mechanic. I used to be kind of a mechanic. General service tech. Went to school for it for a while. Did it for a shop for a few years, but I don't do it anymore as a job. I know enough to be dangerous mechanically. I do a lot of my own stuff, but not everything. Fuel pressure regulator is where I'm thinking it is. We'll see. Get that. My brother knows what he's doing, and he'll be with me, so he is a mechanic, and so he can help me with that one. All right, so that's probably the last video before I take it out of here. So that's it. It's washed. It's better. It's not covered in pollen. Maybe I'll get to the Jeep now. Probably not. Yeah, that's about it. I can't wait till a full journey so I can actually put the good long video together. Crossing the border. You know, I've had a lot of people reach out. What's it like crossing the border, going into the U.S. from Mexico, or going from Mexico to U.S. or U.S. to Mexico, whatever. I do it all the time in the Jeep. I haven't done it in this yet. The Jeep's got U.S. plates on it, and I cross in and out of here all the time. Now, as far as safety goes, I haven't yet had a situation where I felt unsafe. Kind of driven through some sketchy areas, made a few wrong turns, so that makes me a little nervous at times, but other than that, it's fine. Oh, everybody's afraid of Mexico and the U.S. They think it's this bad, dangerous place. Let me show you something here. This is Mexico. Look at these houses. Look at that place. Look at the cars up the street here. These places are ridiculous. Now, I live in San Pedro, just outside of Monterrey, Mexico, in the state of Nuevo León. It's a very wealthy area, known for manufacturing, and we're here on a 2-year expat assignment through my wife's job. We actually live in Southwest Michigan and still have our place there, and that's why we're heading there. And we're just about done here in Mexico. We leave in July permanently. So, yeah, as far as the border crossing goes, I'm not too concerned. This thing's got Mexican plates, blends in just fine. I got to take it through Far, Texas. That's where I can get the import documents. And then, yeah, I kind of got all the research done that I think I can possibly do. I guess, let's see. It's in my name in Mexico. I have a Mexican residency card. I got a Mexican driver's license, and I have they don't really call it a title. They call it the invoice. But I have a Mexican invoice that says that this is mine legally here in Mexico. So I'm not too concerned about that. And it's over 25 years old, so falls under that classification, or 25-year rule that the U.S. has for imports, and kind of makes it exempt for emission standards and safety standards. Although this would probably pass safety standards. It's got airbags on both sides, which was what was required and standard back in 2000 in the U.S. It's got the locking seat belts. Emissions, I mean, it should. It's a 5.9 Magnum that they put in every Ram, 1500 and 2500 and Durango and Dakota. They did it in the U.S. There's nothing different about it. It's got a crappy muffler on it, so I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't pass, but probably half the other ones on the road in the U.S. wouldn't either anymore. So if it had to, I think it would be fine, but it's on that 25-year rule, so it'll be fine. And then the other thing you got to have, along with the paperwork that you prove that it's yours, is you got to have proof of the cost you paid for it. I have a bill of sale also that we wrote up with the seller. It tells you how much I paid for it. And what I also did is I went on Marketplace and around here in Mexico and throughout the country of Mexico, and I just looked up all the other Ramchargers that are currently for sale, which isn't many. At any given time, if you search the entire country of Mexico, you might find between 5 and 7 of them. I don't know. Anyway, when I checked, there was maybe 8 that day. So I saved a picture of each one with their price and their details and their year and all that stuff, so I can prove that the value of it is what I paid for it, and I'm not trying to cheat them out of their tax. And it's great with the new tariffs. I don't know. if I'll have to pay 20% on this. It's considered a truck, so there was always a 20% tariff or a tax on importing a truck anyway, so I don't know. It's not going to be a whole lot. This thing wasn't worth a whole lot of money. Paid a little over $5,500 or $5,000 or something for it when I bought it here. Well, I paid pesos. It was like 126,000 pesos. Anyway, that's it for this video. Next one hopefully will be me cruising it back up into the United States, into Michigan, and then kind of go over some other stuff. Oh yeah, we're gonna fix it. It's got just a little bit of surface rust starting on the bottom of the inside of the door. So we're gonna wire brush those, spray something on them to prevent that from getting worse, and then put some paint over them just to stop that from getting worse. Kind of strange that it's got it being down here in Mexico, but I think water, when you wash it, sits down in those, and I always make sure to dry out the door jambs, but few people do. So I think water just got trapped down in there with some dirt, and you know, over the last 25 years, it's starting to show a little surface rust. So I want to get at that before it gets any worse. So that's what we'll do. Anyway, keep an eye on this page. Like it, subscribe to it, follow it, all that other social media stuff that I'm horrible at. Subscribe. You know, you're already watching the video. Hit the subscribe button. That helps me a ton. I'm going to grow this channel. That's my plan. I'm also on the hunt for another budget build. Kind of something like maybe an S10 or a Mazda B Series pickup, pre-94, Mitsubishi Mighty Max. S10 is probably where I'll end up because they're more common. I did kind of get an eye on an old Mazda pickup, but that's going to go on the channel once we pick something up. I'm on the hunt. And when I get back to Michigan here in April to do some work, we will continue the hunt. And maybe I'll find something on the drive back to Michigan. We'll pick something up on the way. Anyway, thanks again for watching. Subscribe, like, follow. Thanks.